Hello, welcome to Metabreakers Podcast 42. To my left, you have Rob or Warshack, your budget deck extraordinaire. And then we have D-Money, hello, Games, to his left right there. Here to talk to you guys about the fresh Hearthstone meta right after Nerfs. What's going on, boys? How you doing, D-Money?
You forgot the let's go this time.
Fuck.
Doing good, though. Yeah, this meta's so fresh, man. I mean, it's only fresh because it's not 65% rogue, at least. So that's a good thing. But I'm doing pretty good overall. How about you, Warshack? How's it going?
Dude, I'm doing good. I'm finally able to play my Fist Shaman because of the lack of sticky fingers in this meta. Also, I've been playing my level 29 guy on WoW, which has been really fun recently. I spent like a couple hours this weekend actually playing off stream, and it was just like really relaxing. And I love killing mages. So good.
That sounds nice.
It was. Getting like a one shot, like 900 crit when they only have like 900 health, there's nothing more satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you said there's less sticky fingers now. But honestly, I think sticky fingers is still like a must-have because I mean, I personally run into like a million warriors now. Like I haven't seen one evolve. I've seen like maybe 2 evolve shamans like in the past 5 days, but it's like 30% warrior for me. Like there's actually a decent amount of bomb warrior in there as well. So that's what I'm experiencing.
That's interesting.
I just realized how much this metagraph has actually changed. I haven't played too much since the patch came out. It kind of came out right as I was ending my stream on Friday. So I didn't really get a lot of experience at like, you know, seeing the way it's like, but I only imagine from a Demon Hunter perspective, it's probably going to be a little bit better considering, you know, Rogue and Shaman were a little bit oppressive for most of the Demon Hunter decks to deal with. So I'm looking forward to playing it this week. I'm sure it'll probably just help, but
I mean,
this changed
now,
a lot though.
There's still some oppressive decks like there is like the face rogue that's going around right now, or like stealth rogue as well. And then there's also face hunter. It's making a comeback at the moment. I haven't really seen it myself, but I've heard.
That's interesting because those are the 2 predictions I had made that you didn't hear from me. That you might see in an upcoming article. The face hunter, which has always been good, but it was just getting owned by the shamans just because they were able to, like, the face hunter would go wide early, and then the evolved shaman obviously capitalized on that with like Mogus and free sea giants and then revolving them, right? So I thought face hunter is going to be pretty good. And then like the stealth aggro rogue, actually I played like 4 of them in a row last stream, and I was like, where the hell are these guys coming from? And they're just as fast as the face hunters. They kill you by turn 4 or 5.
Oh yeah,
just based off like the stealth, and then they cold blood the minions, and then they run sinisters, and then they can just the passage, and then like every card in their hands like what 3 or 4 mana with some preps in there, so then they just evis you and sinister strike you, and you're literally dead. They throw up that aggressive.
Like they throw up like the scimitar, deadly poison it for like 6 attack, and just keep donking that and stuff. Yeah, the tech is so aggressive and very annoying. But
it's face rogue essentially. You got face hunter, you got face rogue, and then also Zoo Warlock is making a pretty big comeback right now. No Hands Gamer kind of at the forefront of that, but a lot of people have been playing against a decent amount of Zoo Warlock. It's pretty dang strong, but I guess Soul DH is probably decent against that because you got the Shard Shatter Mystic, which clears up a lot of their minions typically.
Zulok is just like completely polarized against all Demon Hunter, which if like feels kind of like the match is predetermined almost to a degree if you draw your Mystic before turn like 6, you know, unless they use that new discard buff card to get things past 3 health, and then you lose if that happens. You know, like if they have like a Dark Lair of 4 health or something, then you can just lose. But
you know what's owned me in that Zoo deck? The guy that gets rid of a mana.
Yep. Revenant Revenant guy. Rascal. Or something. I don't know.
That thing has owned me so many times. All right, I've got next turn, a Brawl's coming, or a Blizzard, or some sort of AoE, and then they just poop on my mana crystal. And it just all of my plans destroyed right there and then.
I mean, I never thought that card would be good at all. It seemed like kind of
Same.
like one of those bad expansion set cards where they're like it seemed like it was kind of like the way Dark Glare was when it first came out, where you're like, wow, the effect on this card seems strong, but like, okay, like I'm not gonna put this in a deck. It doesn't really matter that much. No, it seems like that one card, the 4/3 that shot a card and corrupted it, so it would discard if you don't play it. It was like corrupted playable card. I
Chaos
imagine it
Wizard,
had to have a
yep.
similar feel to that, in its viability, but evidently just removing a mana crystal when you have board from your opponent is shitty.
Yeah, this would be like the only deck you could run that card in, I would think, is like an aggressive style deck. When you can like make a board in like the first couple turns and then just drop it down, and like you don't even care about losing a mana crystal yourself because all your stuff just costs like 3 or less anyway. So yeah, it has been pretty good. Yeah, I have like my next turn planned out. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna coin into Holy Nova. It's gonna be sick, dude. Plays the Revenant guy, and I'm like, what am I supposed to? It's like when a Demon Hunter mana burns you, and you're like, oh, I guess I don't get to do my thing that I was gonna do. All right, well, yeah, but it's at least it's for both players, so it's not like mana burn would only affect you and everything, and then it's like you don't get to play the game. Like we both don't get to play the game a little bit less or a little more, but yeah,
the card is so bad if you're behind though, right? Like if your opponent has board and then you play like a 3/3 destroy a mana crystal on both sides to the point where they can just like, I don't know, like value trade into it and keep going, then you probably just lose. But I guess that's Zulok's strength. It's like, oh, look how many minions I can put out on the board while you're just trying to, figure out how to get to your first card. So it doesn't really ever have to deal with the behind the board circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, if Zulok is behind, they probably just lose anyway. So
yeah. The deck has like no removal. It has no AoE in it. It literally is built on getting on the board with sticky, resilient minions that are overly statted at the cost of life. And then you just keep going face. And now they got brooms. They've got like very cheap 8/8s with flesh giants. The Dark Lair just propels them forward as well to play even more minions. So yeah, generally the mana crystal isn't that big of a deal for the warlocks, which is why it's in the deck. It's detrimental for the opponent. That's definitely a control deck. Paladin though, still at the top here. I hate that deck. I hate that class. The Paladin.
Yeah,
like,
so
the pure Paladins.
So this is, if you guys did not know, what we're looking at right now, this is across all ranks, by the way, and all servers. And then we're going to get into the top 1K meta in just a bit. But yeah, Paladin, I've seen a bit of Libram Paladin going around, Pure Paladin going around. I mean, it kind of makes sense because there's these aggressive decks. So I could see how it's doing well. They doesn't require too much skill. Like the deck really plays itself out a lot of the times. I mean, you play the Aldor Truthseeker, you play the other guy that reduces the Librams, and then you play the Libram of Hope, and then you win pretty much against these aggressive decks.
Are you gonna make a YouTube guide on that?
I think I just did post? Right there.
That's what I'm saying. Can you just like record that little snippet and just like top
somebody
1,000?
Clip that. Somebody.
There you go. Now post it on Reddit.
That's how you play, guys.
Get a bunch of upvotes.
Yeah, Paladin is. I mean, maybe it's all Highlander Paladin. All right, I don't know.
I don't think so, man.
Yeah,
I've been seeing it. Yeah. Honestly, I've seen a lot more Highlander Paladin than before.
Let's go.
And I'm sure it's due to your stream and other people picking it up from you. So that's pretty cool to see people exploring a little bit, but mostly just pure.
Yeah.
Have you guys played or queued into the Ramp Paladin deck?
Yeah.
Yes,
I made my guide on that like a week ago.
It's crazy, man. Like, I remember when I was playing that corrupt Highlander Demon Hunter deck, it was normally like you get to the late game, you win. But against that deck, I didn't have the ability to answer 4 boards of clowns. It was like clown, and then it was Isarge, clown, and I was just like, oh my God, what do I do? There's just too many clowns. Because they run a 2-up with that, right?
Yes.
There's different builds.
That's crazy to me. Like it's a deck that does 4 waves of clowns. So go them.
Well, it's very consistent at getting, like, the hardest part is getting, like, so Druid, they have ramp to get to 10 mana, right? So they can cast Survival of the Fittest. But the thing is, you have to draw the ramp. They run 2 Wild Growths, 2 Overgrowths, right? That's 4 cards in total. They need to be drawn at certain points in the game at certain mana costs, right? But the Paladin deck is interesting because you run 2 Call to Adventures, right? You run 2 of the Red Scale, the Murlocs that draw a dragon, and then you obviously play Norse Normu, which is 5 cards, right? So you have like, and all of those cards at any point in the game when drawn will instantly get you to 10 mana when you play them, right? Because the Murlocs draw the dragon, the Call to Adventures get the Murlocs, which draw the dragon. So you're kind of guaranteed the ramp. I played that deck probably about 45 to 50 games, and only like maybe 5 of them did I not have the dragon on turn 4 or 5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's actually kind of cool.
It's actually insane. Yeah, I played it like 10 games. I got it like every freaking time.
Yeah, it's just super consistent because turn 4 is like pretty deep in the game. So and then you full mulligan for any of those 5 cards. So if none of them are in your hand, you just full mulligan, and then by turn 4, you should have at least one of those cards. And then when you get to 10, all you have to do is play a 10 drop, which is easy, and then it just invokes your drag or corrupts your clowns, and you just go to town. Like,
I didn't even run Call to Adventures in my deck, and I still got it like every single game.
That deck's late game is ridiculous, man. It's just so like insane to deal with if it like pops off for your opponent. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
There's
very
not
fun.
enough removal.
And yeah, it's one of those decks that like counters the meta because a lot of people are playing low curve stuff. So like, yeah, you could play your whole hand, sure, but I'm playing like these huge guys. That's just gonna like I play a Batterhead, I wipe out your whole entire board. Like it's really a heads up kind of deck by No Hands Gamer. It's like I don't think it's tier 1 at all. It's probably like a tier 3 kind of thing or something, but it does win games and it's fun and it's unique. So I'm all about it. Yeah.
It does this crazy combo that I saw someone do against me when I was almost killing them, where they did Batterhead and then the Lifesteal card, the twin spell Lifesteal. That I was like, oh my god, it's like he's like healing like 15 right now, just because he's trading into everything in the war with a Lifesteal 3 minion. I was like, this is not fair. This super cool combo. I never imagined to be able to get that off in like a competitive game. You know, like Batterhead with Lifesteal. Sick.
Yeah, like especially without running Duel or something.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, let's go into the top 1K.
Let's go.
These are the top decks amongst the top 1K across all servers, I believe. And we see at the top, tier 1, Zoo Warlock. All alone over there.
The top 5 decks here are the most obvious decks to be like top right now, I would say, like after 2 cards get nerfed. You know, Zoo, Pure Paladin, Face Hunter, Bomb Warrior, and then Weapon Rogue. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything surprising here, boys?
I mean, Bomb Warrior and Weapon Rogue in the top 5 here both revolve around like obviously the weapons, and we just came from a time where we were seeing most decks play double sticky fingers.
You know, it's probably because of that they're doing so well, because everyone's thinking like, okay, Evolve Shaman's not in the game as much anymore. I don't have to run double sticky fingers in my deck. And then people are like, oh, I can just run Bomb Warrior, and then no one's running Weapon Tech now. Or like Weapon Rogue, and same thing, right?
So you're telling me their strategy was to play a weapon-based deck, and then now it's just to play a different weapon-based deck. That's the big strategy.
Yeah, I feel like people are still running Sticky Finger, but they're only running 1, I would think, instead of 2. And like Bomb Warrior, I've even like played like a Sticky Finger and an Ooze. Like I've probably played like 2 Oozes and a Sticky Finger against Bomb Warrior once, and I still lost to it. Like it's just like so.
And that feels awful.
Yeah, it does. But like that just like proves that like if people just like caught 1 Sticky Finger or like one of their anti-weapon techs, like Bomb Warrior just gets way more powerful. And like if Weapon Rogue, they're gonna keep slapping you in the face. Like you play a 4/4, you're still gonna die. Like you stole their weapon, but like you still have to like face tank here and like yeah.
Yeah, I mean I'm so excited for rotation, seeing how Bomb Warrior just never stops like coming back, man. Like it's Bomb Warrior's been in the meta since Rise of Shadows. I remember when everyone was doing their like the play testing for the Theorycraft reveal streams, and all the streamers were like, holy shit, if I just put a whole bunch of bombs in their deck and then play Blastmaster Boom, I win like every game. Wow. And here we are, almost 2 years later, looking at Bomb Warrior in the top 1K meta deck list again. Like,
And
it
it's
just never goes away, man.
Yeah, and it's very hard to play around too because you don't know when you're going to take the damage, right? So you could draw it slowly. You could draw 2, 3 bombs in a row, and you have to like constantly have to adapt to that, right? You can't be like, all right, I'm going to set up here and be safe next turn because you don't really know. At any point, you could just draw into these bombs, and it's very hard to play around. Also, if you're playing a Highlander deck like D-Money, I'm sure that's frustrating to like not be able to play the Highlander cards in your deck that's specifically built to be able to play because you have a bunch of bombs in your deck.
It just inherently counters a bunch of shit. Like Warlock decks, they can't deal with that amount of additional damage.
Yeah.
Like you can't play OTK Demon Hunter or any like combo deck that has to draw through their cards. You just die.
It can really do like everything pretty much. You know, it shuffles in the bombs. It can gain a lot of armor. It can clear the board a million times. It could draw a lot of cards. Like it's like Warrior is just that class. Like that's just the whole class. Like it could do anything. It's just like which one do you want to play? Do you want to play bombs? Do you want to play ETC? Do you want to play Sealess? Do you want to play just Cthulhu control? Like everything's gonna be viable. Like it could literally, like, the class could just do everything. And like bombs, yeah, they have like so many. Like you guys said, like it shuts off Highlander. It puts all this damage into their deck. Like it's just like it's so consistent and it's so good. And like there's really not a lot to play around it. Like you have like that one neutral that turns all your neutral cards into class cards.
Wyrmrest Purifier?
Wyrmrest Purifier.
No one brings that. That card's so bad,
You have
dude.
Deck of Lunacy, which I actually just put in my mage deck yesterday.
Yes, that is
yeah.
a fantastic counter
Very
if
good
you're a
against
mage
it.
player.
That card's good.
But like
I didn't think it was good until I played Mage for like a whole
Yeah.
Friday one day. And then the shit that card does is bonkers and I love it. But
yeah, it's the
yeah.
reason why I lost in the tournament the other week. Like randomly
With the wrong
generated
cards?
Deck of Lunacy, and like you just make those bombs into 8 cost cards that now cost 5. You get 1 million inner demons. You get lay on hands. You get all these powerful 8 cost spells.
2
but there's
mana
like
meta assist. That's always the best, man. Like I love
yeah,
that.
but the thing is, like, there's very few ways to counter the Bomb Warrior. Like, you could put in Sticky Fingers. Like, that's like the only way you could really counter it as a non-mage player, I guess. So it's just like consistently good. Doesn't have too many counters, and yeah, it's usually at the top there. Anything else surprising down here? Just a lot of aggro. Just a lot of aggro.
I mean, I wanted to point out there's literally 4 rogue decks, and all of them are within like what, 1% of each other, and they're all aggro decks. Weapon rogue, whirl kick rogue, stealth rogue, and an actual just aggro rogue. They're all within what? I would say they're all within 20 cards of each other, and they're just all aggressive.
yeah, that's
Is World
I mean-
Kick an aggro deck? I don't know, man. It's
Yes.
just like a
Yes. It's a value aggro deck. They make like they make huge boards as early as turn like what, 3 or between 3 or 5, and they just constantly put pressure down, and they just keep making value through World Kick lady thing. So it's definitely not a mid-range deck. It's not a control deck. It's not an OTK deck. I wouldn't really call it a combo deck.
I guess I'd say maybe like a tempo deck. Tempo aggro. I don't know.
But
it's a
tempo
deck
is
that never
like,
runs out of resources.
Tempo is
yeah,
like
but like
aggro.
a tempo, you're sacrificing like resources at the expense of getting like farther ahead on board, but that's not the case with Rogue. For every card you play, it generates another card.
Generates 2 more.
That's not, you're not giving anything up.
So 3 of the 4 rogue decks run Spy Mistress. And I think we can viably call those aggro in every circumstance. But World Kick Rogue does not do that. They kind of just like pop off of what's happening in their hand. You know? Where like Stealth Rogue, Aggro Rogue, Weapon Rogue, or like, you know, Spy Mistress on 1, like coin out the Greyheart Sage the next turn or something, or they play another stealth minion on 2. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I feel like there is a difference between World Kick, Weapon, Stealth, and Aggro. All Weapon, Stealth, and Aggro almost all being exactly the same.
But they all
World-
kill you at exactly the same time.
They kill you very fast.
I mean, World Kick is just like slower just because it's like more combo oriented, I guess. Because like you're trying to like combo off with like the questing adventurers, and like building up for these world kick turns, but like you're really not sacrificing anything while you're building up for them because they just keep generating cards, whether it's through secret passage or like just like there's a lot of like miscreants. Like they don't even need like those cards per se. Like they can just play like miscreants, they could play wand thieves and everything. So you're just like generating all this stuff while making a board, and then when you want to go into the combo, sure, I'll put down a 12-12 Edwin, I'll put down a 12-12 questing, or I'll just play like 4 cards at your face with the world kick. Like there's so much flexibility, and like it's just like
why stop there?
Yeah, honestly.
You can also play mage cards because you're shadow stepping your the little wand lady. So you got to watch out for fireballs and pyroblasts and all that good stuff too.
It always offers pyroblast every time. It's weird. But yeah, not the most exciting kind of meta. It's a lot of aggro, but some people like a lot of aggressive decks. So not my thing personally, but I mean, you have pure paladin, which is doing quite well still. So if you want to counter the aggression, just don't play against Warshack.
Don't play pure paladin, please. Literally anything besides that. Anything.
I actually thought about playing it today, but I just don't want to play with Librams. I want to play like a version that doesn't run Librams, because I feel like Librams are just like so like boring. I don't know, like it's the same thing every time. I think I said that last week too. Like it's the same thing every time. Like you just discount the Libram, you play. Yeah, exactly. But like I don't know. I want to
play pure paladin without Librams. Is that what you're saying you want to do?
Yes, I want to play. Like I want to play Yrel, that new card, man. I don't know. I'm never gonna play her.
She's so good.
I mean, you could just play the good deck that she's in, but like.
All right, so I think we should go to the next topic.
Yes.
Which I think
YouTube comments.
Did we want to go to the other one first? Do we want to go to like the changes first? Because we're already like talking about the meta and everything.
Yeah, we can go to the changes. That's fine. That makes sense.
Okay.
All right, so guys, if you were not Draco, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the exact same thing. If you guys have been living under a rock, you might have missed the nerfs that have came out this week. That being said, Eddie was finally hit with a nerf after many, 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 many years. He is no longer a 3-mana 2/2, but a 4-mana 2/2. And Bogspine Knuckles no longer has 4 attack. It now has 3. So please reserve your excitement as we now begin to talk about the impact or the lack of due to these changes. What do you think, D-Money? Do you think that these are going to help the decks not be as oppressive to the meta?
I think you forgot to send me a second screenshot here. There's these the only changes? That's it? Only 2 changes?
Yeah, no, I didn't forget
my reaction.
Screenshot. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, I woke up to a text from my friend saying they finally nerfed Edwin, and I was like, oh, thank God. I get to look at all these changes today. It's going to be great, dude. This is going to be awesome. And I look at these 2 changes. I'm like, let's go. These are the cards I wanted to be changed. All right, next, what's up? And that was it, man. I was very sad. Like, I'm happy. These are good changes overall. But, like, we obviously needed some more. And, like, especially after waiting so long, like, it's just very disappointing to only see 2 changes here. But at the same time, like, that just gives me hope that like they're really working on like this mini expansion, and they're also like changing the whole way that the Hall of Fame system works and everything. So I feel like we're gonna have a lot of announcements soon. I'm really happy about that. But yeah, these changes, they're so like the Bogspine change I think is a lot bigger of a change than Edwin. I think Edwin is still definitely playable. He's still like you can still get him out on turn 2. I've seen a lot of people get him out on turn 2 as like a 10-10, 12-12. You just Foxy Fraud, Shadow Step it, Foxy Fraud, then you play him. And he's still very good, like just as a 4-mana card. Like even if you don't discount him like that, just later on in the game, like 1 extra mana, it really doesn't mean too much to rogues half the time. So
But sometimes that one mana does make a difference, though, in like the long run of things. Like changing things one mana does have a big impact.
Overall, it does make an impact, but it's still just a very good card, and I just wanted to see it be Hall of Famed. Like, why even bother changing it? Like, the only reason why they haven't Hall of Famed it is because they're getting rid of Hall of Fame, which we don't know really too much info on that yet, but.
Let's cover that. Did you see this?
Yeah, there was a tweet. Yeah, there was a response to Edwin, and they basically said they're nerfing this for now to 4 mana, and then he is gonna get Hall of Famed, and then they're reverting him back to what he was when the Hall of Fame occurs. That's what I saw.
And they also said the Hall of Fame as we know it will be no more. But there's no additional benefit to crafting another Edwin or deciding not to disenchant it now if you want the dust for it, because. And when the Hall of Fame comes, they're kind of saying that you're not going to just get a free 1600 for it this time. So,
yes,
if you guys don't plan on playing Rogue much more this meta, you have an
Which
Edwin.
is messed up. Pretty messed up, because if they don't provide everybody whatever the new Rogue legendary is to replace Edwin, and then they don't give you the dust refund for Edwin that they're going to take away, that's really messed up, right? Because you're losing a card from the Rogue Classic or Basic set, and you're getting nothing for it, and they're replacing it with something that you don't have.
Well,
so what this kind of alludes to, and this is based off of a Kibler tweet, so this is not my idea or assumption, is it kind of alludes to there being a potential rotating core set by removing the Hall of Fame, meaning that when players join Hearthstone, they have all of the basic and classic Rogue cards and the legendaries within these classic sets. And then the core rotates, and then you get the next rotated core for the next year. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they're providing more cards to players, but they're not reimbursing what you're losing.
Yes, which is fine. They're still replacing it with something, which is the core part of that. You're still getting something when they're taking away something. As long as you're getting something back, then it's fine. All in equal exchange. But if they didn't, that'd be pretty messed up.
Yeah, like they might like just like change get rid of the entire classic and basic set like that as we know it. I don't know.
Which would be great.
That would be fantastic. Get rid of Malagos, get rid of Questing Adventurer, get rid of these cards that like we've played with for 7 years now. 7.5 years now. It's time for some new stuff. Like a whole revamp would be awesome. It would change the entire, like the rotation itself is already going to change the entire game, but like that in itself is going to change everything, and that's very exciting, as opposed to these 2 changes that we see here. Yes.
I don't want to be too excited, but it does kind of seem like that might be the case. You know, that they do a whole, free rotating brand new revamp. But
a lot of
I don't
people
like to be excited about things because then I get disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, these changes, honestly, like they're good changes. I think everybody just wanted more in general, and like for the meta, it definitely did help me see less Rogue. It's still a decent amount of Rogue, but before these changes happened, I was playing against 65% Rogue, and that was way too much, man. That's just way too much. And now it's like the same as other classes. Like now I face as many Rogues as Warriors, which is probably like 20%, 30%. And like I've seen like maybe 1 Shaman, and like it's not even that great anymore. Like I'd say Shaman has dropped to like tier 2 or maybe even tier 3. Dare I say tier 3? But yeah, I think the box bind one was definitely a lot more of a change. Like Edwin was like, that's a good, the whole thing is like Edwin's like a good change, but they didn't touch so many of the powerful cards that are like making Rogues so overpowered. Like nerfing Edwin to this, it gets rid of like that one win con, essentially, like that insta win con that like you got like 30% of the time. But you
unless
still
they
have,
just draw the same exact instant win con, which is Foxy Frog, Shadow Step, and Edwin.
That's a lot harder to get though. That's like a specific combination. That's like the only combination.
That's only a 3-card combo.
It's
Foxy Fraud, Shadow Step, Edwin is a 3-card turn 2.
Yes.
What did you say? 8/8 or 10/10?
It's a lot less consistent though, as opposed to like what it used to be. Like this, maybe you get this off like 5% of the time now.
Now people can't do prep Secret Passage on 3 and find the Edwin and then throw it out, or like play another card and Shadow Step it and throw out an Edwin, or you know what I mean? Because that was what was happening before. I don't know if you guys ever lost to your opponent doesn't have Edwins in their hand, but then they like prep and find it in that exact situation that they wanted.
Yeah.
It's an even worse feeling when they Foxy Fraud first and then they Secret Passage and then they find it. And
with like 1 mana left over or something.
They Foxy, they Passage, then they prep the Swindle and get it from the Swindle. That's a good one.
Ooh, yeah.
There's a lot of
I think though, in this perspective though, when you think about Edwin being 4, it does change things in a lot of perspectives. Sometimes it won't. Like if you think about the times where your opponent gets like an extra prize plunderer into their Edwin chain that just removes your one singular big minion that was on the board because they already did this long Edwin chain, and they find a plunderer. Now that won't be enough mana for them to also slide that into the turn. But then again, there's also these situations where they literally plunder their own minions so that they can get more Edwin stats or more off of the other cards, or, you know, something off a Whirl Kick. So in that situation, it doesn't matter. But in a lot of situations, like if you think of like you Secret Passage and you find another Wand Thief and you have 4 mana left, you would get to like discover a spell, add it to your hand, and then Edwin, thus adding +2/2 in stats and a mage card to your hand. Where Edwin being 4 mana now becomes a less powerful effect to get it on the board. You know, it does make a difference. It's just in a vacuum, it's easy to think it doesn't change.
It makes a difference, but I wanted to say that, and I brought up this Pheno tweet as well, because I agree with this a lot. That it was a good like, I think I don't know. I maybe disagree like that it was the main problem, but it was definitely a problem. But the other cards that are really making Rogue so good are cards like Foxy Fraud and Secret Passage. And that's exactly what Pheno said right here. And like Secret Passage, I know it got nerfed, but like it's still so freaking good. Like the fact that like Pheno was saying, maybe you take away the cards that you generate still staying in your hand, and I think that would definitely help out a lot. Like you could even put it back to 5 cards and then have it not keep the generated cards in your hand, but then maybe aggressive Rogue gets like too good because they play all their cards. But yeah, I think those cards are like the main issue. Like Secret Passage still feels so overpowered whenever it's played against me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think Pheno hit the nail on the head right here.
Yeah, 1 mana to just draw 4, and then you keep everything over. It's just like, how do you not play that? Like it's almost any rogue. Just like how could you not play that at all? Also, your lack of dark mode on Twitter disturbs the shit out of me, bro. Like it actually irks me.
I get a lot of shit. Oh my gosh,
I saw a crazy interaction with Secret Passage yesterday from like a Hammock clip, or I think that's his name. It was like he mind rendered his opponent and then played Secret Passage and then drew a Shadow Step so that he could Shadow Step the mind render Lucia and then switch the decks again. And then all of the decks that got all the cards from his opponent's original hand got added back to his hand. So he stole his entire opponent's hand from like Shadow Stepping the mind render in the middle of the
That's
play.
Funny.
That's delicious.
Yeah, it's crazy. Delicious. I was like, oh, because if you switch the decks, then the hand he's getting back and everything is the new hand that you grabbed him, not the old one. It's crazy. Yeah, I never know. I didn't ever think about that interaction.
Yeah, there's some weird interactions with the Lucia.
It's crazy, man. I think we should talk about what the Box by Knuckles nerf actually does, because a lot of people when this nerf came out, I noticed were saying things like, how does this change anything? And it's very important to remember the way this works with the pirate. Yes. Anyone like to elaborate on that?
That's the main point. Yeah. So when I first look at the box spawn, I also was like, okay, this changes nothing. The effect is what you think is what makes the box by Knuckles very strong, right? Like they still have the card that draws it. It's still only 5 mana. And the only thing we care about is evolving, right? Like that's just what it does. The damage is 1 damage. You think 1 weapon hitting you twice, that's 2 damage overall. And you're like, hey, that's not really that big of a deal. This nerf sucks. But what's important to remember is like what Draco just said is the fact that the Dread Corsair was at, when you played the Knuckles, it would cost 0 because the weapon had 4 attack. Now it has 3, which means Dread Corsair it costs 1 mana now. So they can't on turn like 2 or 3 be able to blossom out the Knuckles and then play 2 Dread Corsairs or even 1 and then get the free 5 drop. So their board swings when they play the weapon now aren't as bursty because they have that extra mana to spend now. And I think that's a really, really big deal. And also, even though it has the -1 attack, that's actually come in clutch a few times because as we know, they bring back the weapon a lot. So over the course of getting hit in the face over and over and over again adds up to anywhere between like 2 to 6 health overall. And the swing turns are less. So, and it also can't clear as good as minions anymore because for attack weapon, there's a ton of taunt minions and a ton of just minions in the game that are statted as 4/4, 5/4, and things like this. And with the 3 attack, it no longer gets through those minions and allows them to kill your minion while also evolving their board. So, as small
I've already seen
as
this change make a
look,
huge difference. You know,
yeah.
Sometimes people like Lightning Bloom on 4 now to equip Bogs by Knuckles to get the Dread Corsair out right afterwards. And then if you think about it, they're actually delaying their whole swing turn an entire turn, where that's a big nerf, you know, if they're waiting till turn 4 to equip the Knuckles instead of turn 3. Even though I guess, yes, it is a 5 mana card, but that's another whole thing to get into. But yeah, waiting until 4 for them to be like overloaded and then go for that now gives other decks like a huge chance, because generally what would happen would be you would get a little bit overwhelmed in the early game. They would just keep bringing these things back, and then you would do your counterplay. Then they would evolve their board again and broom everything into it. And then you would just be done. The game is over. So now that going behind another turn gives you another whole turn to develop, which can make a lot of difference because they don't really have much to do with your board other than revolve. So it's like the only way they can impact it.
Because against the Shaman, they like benefit off you having a board because of Sea Giants and Mogus. And that's always kind of made me mad. Is like, oh, because I have a lot of minions. My opponent's now minions, you know, they play a 2 mana Sea Giant and then they evolve it into like a Scrapyard Colossus. And it's like, okay, he was only able to play the Sea Giant because I played minions. And I need to play minions to win. And if I don't play minions, I lose.
It's like playing against ETC, but different.
Yeah, it just feels like you should never be punished for playing minions other than like your opponent being able to like AoE them down. Like that's obviously like a thing you need to watch for, but playing minions to have your opponents play 0 mana 10/10s or 0 mana 10 mana minions just feels bad. And I've said this since the beginning of the podcast, and I will continue to say it forever. 0 mana cards are problems. Things shouldn't cost 0 mana. Anyway, rant over.
It's a good rant.
Yeah. I mean, Evolve Shaman, though, it definitely took a big hit with this, and I do think it's like tier 2.5, probably, something like that. Tier 2, tier 3. I haven't played against like any of them. It's a lot more enjoyable of an experience on ladder overall for me. Still a lot of decks that I don't like to play against, but it's at least a better, and like we should be approaching the... Excuse me, sorry, there. We should be approaching the mini set very soon, and just like announcements in general any day now, you know, it's any day now, yeah. So that's very exciting, and like we're getting close. Just hang in there, guys. Like,
it's got to get announced this week.
These
right?
2 changes were there to like hold us over for like 5 days, hopefully, or something like that. So, yeah.
I hope it's
we have a lot of stuff. Yeah,
they have to announce the new competitive season kind of thing.
Yep.
They have to announce the rework, the mini set,
rotation,
probably,
Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah, a lot of
possibly
things.
New expansion in less than 2 months now. I mean, there's just like so much stuff. It's hard not to be excited, but
I'm really interested in the way they do it, because usually in previous years they do like the summit, right? Or they summon Frodan and all the other big Hearthstone peoples out to the Hearthstone Convention Center. And then they show them cool cards and stuff on a screen and tell them about all these cool things. And then everyone's like, amazing things happening in Hearthstone, but I can't tell you anything. You know, and that happens for like a couple weeks where you're like, why does everyone say there's amazing things coming? And why won't anyone tell me what's happening?
And then you guys ask us and we have no idea.
Yeah. But it's going to be weird because this year they can't do that to build hype. They can't just roll it off of other people. They have to roll it out digitally. And I don't know. I feel like it's hard to build as much hype when you don't have your your
hype
content
man,
creators
Frodan.
kind of preaching about it ahead of time. But
Yeah, maybe they'll have D-Money this time. I don't know. But I wanted to bring up this tweet here.
oh man.
This is a. Do you want to talk about this, Draco?
I found this comment on one of the Metabreakers podcast videos. And I'll just read it to you for all of those who might be listening. The dynamic of this cast is phenomenal. You've got D-Money, the super competitive HS pro with the dry humor and insightful takes. You've got Warshack, the happy-go-lucky who brings the good vibes and knows how to host a show. And finally, you got DracoCatt, who I swear is a crackhead who's always rambling and is off tone half the time. Great podcast, fellas. Love it. What? Oh man.
Yeah, this was a banger of a comment here. We don't know.
This is
if
why
the...
we love YouTube.
We don't know if it's like a troll or it could be an honest opinion. I mean, he said that I'm a HS pro and with insightful takes, so that part's true. And like Warshack, happy-go-lucky. I mean, bringing the good vibes, knows how to put on a show. You know, I mean, that all sounds legit to me. I don't know, Draco. Do you know this guy?
I don't know this guy. First of all, D-Money's sense of humor is not dry humor. It's punny humor. Okay. That's what you do, man. You make like really corny jokes that are a little clever.
That's true.
That's like your thing. That is your thing. It's not dry.
I mean,
humor is when you just say things that are super obvious with like a straight face. And it's funny because you're just pointing out like the obvious that, you know what I mean? It's very much like, trying to think of someone who would be a good example of dry humor, but that isn't anything I would ever use to describe you. But I guess that doesn't really say
on our
anything
team,
about the crackhead.
He's a lot of dry humor.
Who does?
Rizai?
Risai?
Reese.
That is a good point. Yeah. Like, right. Where you're just pointing out the obvious and the way
That's
you
true.
say it is just funny. You
I mean,
know?
I'd like to think that I can master all aspects of comedy. So, I mean, I'm sure I have those moments where I do have some dry humor, but
mastering all aspects of comedy? What does that even mean, dude? Like,
Dude, he's ascending to a new level of entertainment god.
I got it all, bro. See,
I
that
don't
was a
think
dry
that's
humor right
possible
there.
for
Thank
anyone.
you, Tim. Thank you.
oh my God.
Let's go. Yeah, this is a great comment. It's pretty funny. Draco is definitely not a crackhead, guys. If anybody was worried about him, if you saw this tweet or the comment there,
I've never done crack yet.
Never done crack yet.
It hasn't happened yet.
Good motto.
But I will tell you guys if it does.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I could tell you where this guy's coming from. All right, so sometimes I think that Draco's on crack when he starts talking about Demon Hunter and how much he loves it. You know, that's I think that's where the disconnect is. There, I'm pretty sure.
I'm so glad you can relate to where he's coming from. Thank you for painting that picture for us.
Got you.
Oh my God.
So, for those of you who don't know, this podcast is uploaded on YouTube, which you'll
Yes.
find more of these comments. So feel free to like and leave as many awesome comments as you'd like, just like this swell fellow, maybe a little bit brighter than this comment here. But overall, we'd love to see your support on the Metabreakers Podcast YouTube channel, which one of our great mods and/or D-Money and/or Draco will put in the chat, or I'll put in the chat. I've got it right here.
You could do it.
So
You can do it.
I'm gonna do
yes.
it.
I mean,
I'm going to do it right now.
if you guys want, you can tell this gentleman or gentlewoman that I haven't done crack yet. And that'd be a great comment.
Yeah.
True.
Because you know.
Yep, there's the YouTube channel right in the chat right there if you want to check it out. And give it a subscribe, that would help us out a lot. We post the videos every week, probably around Tuesday or Wednesday. I think this week's one got posted a little late, but it's usually around Tuesday or Wednesday, right, Draco?
We got to positively position that. Good news, chat. There is a brand new podcast of last week that came out today.
Huge.
There you go.
And it could be us. And actually, you'll probably see, if you watch that episode, you'll probably see us predicting some of these changes that we saw right now. And maybe even future changes as well. But yes, we're going to go into the last segment that we have for you guys, which is the Q&A, which means question and answer. So
I have a question.
Sure, I'll give you an answer.
Okay.
Wow.
The mini set's coming. I would like to hear one card idea that you think that will be in this mini set. And then once it releases, we will see if any of us come close.
Ooh, can I go first?
Yeah.
A token
Just
Demon
don't take
Hunter
mine.
finisher. Something that's like deal this amount of damage to your opponent's face times the amount of minions you have on the board or something. Like,
Oh God. Okay. No.
Like, 'cause
Some sort of token demon hunter like final like move. Something, a big payoff. Big payoff.
yes, for having a whole bunch of boys on the board, that's better than Naga Sea Witch. Because like there's like when you're playing against token shaman or token druid, you can't just leave things up on the board. If you do the math and you're like bloodlust and savage roar kills me. And that's why token demon hunter can't even compete.
I'm
with
going to
those
tell
kind
you
of
why this
decks.
can't happen.
Oh, because you don't want it to?
No, that's not the question. That's not. No, you don't. That
Hold
has
on.
nothing to do with the
This
question. Draco, answer the question. You can't attack his answer. This is not a free for all.
Okay,
This is the
wait.
dictatorship
I'm
question.
not attacking
You
his
will
answer. I'm just telling him why is not. I'm telling him why
This
it's
has
not
nothing
going
to do with the card.
I'm telling him why it's not what he actually wants. All right,
No.
he thinks he wants
No.
it, but he doesn't want it. All right.
All right,
Yeah,
Blizzard
probably.
with WoW Classic.
If
It's
they-
actually competitive and token demon hunter becomes like the best demon hunter deck, I'm gonna hate playing that. In
no, the thing
comparison to
is, the
other
thing
ones.
is, you're saying it's for like this like token demon hunter, but it's probably not going to be. Like, I would think that an aggro demon hunter would probably get a ton of use out of it, depending on what the card actually is. Like, token or like an aggro demon hunter is going to have like a wide board anyway, so I would think it would just be like too good in something like that, depending on what the card is. I mean, we have no idea, but that's just all I'm saying. So be careful what you wish for, Draco. But yeah,
The other situation is also kind of shitty, where it's like imagining that token demon hunter does become like the best demon hunter deck. So if I want to play like high level
yeah.
Hearthstone and be competitive with demon hunter, that I'm going to be playing like a curve stone style of deck, one that's like less reactive and thinky, and that would be also kind of a bummer for me, because when like aggro demon hunter is super good, I don't want to play that just because it's less fun, I feel like, to talk about the plays in comparison to the other style decks. But
By the
what
way,
do you
guys,
want, bro? What do you
uh,
want, D-Money?
I'm gonna have to think about it.
Neutral
I'll
healing.
let-
There you go. That's what D-Money wants. He wants
Yes.
to be able to put a new Ziliax in his deck. The end.
Please. No, I want Warshack to go first, but before he goes, I just want to. I know we have one question from Chosen Wonton in there, but by the way, guys, please
good
feel
name.
free to drop all your questions that you may have for us about Hearthstone, preferably Hearthstone. I mean, feel free to ask anything, but you're on the screen right there, so. Yeah, we're going to answer some of the questions that we find in there, so this is your time to ask any of those questions that you may have. But Warshack, go ahead. I'll think about my answer right now.
Mine's simple. I've stated this before. A couple when we were guessing about the mini expansion. N'Zoth, you see, we've seen what he can do with the 4-mana 4/5 taunt amalgam. I think it is time for the amalgams to rise, and we're going to see a big amalgam payoff with N'Zoth. I think the mini set will include some sort of big amalgam. I'm cashing in
You want
on
a
this.
giant amalgam? You want an
I have
amalgam?
a giant amalgam, absolutely massive.
Ooh, imagine like an 8/8 giant that's like a 10 drop. That's an amalgam that says costs 1 less for every different kind of minion you have on board. Boom.
There you go.
It's the perfect flavor. I made it. There you go, chat.
Amalgasaurus.
The amalgam giant.
So I think it might. I don't think they would. I mean, that's very similar to like that Dragon Warrior card. They might do something with based on how many different types you have. He gets a different ability. So if you have like 2 different types of minions on the board, he gets like Wind Fury. Or if you have 3, he gets like Wind Fury and.
I don't know if we
Fury
want
is
to
so
adapt
scary
or
of an
anything.
effect, man. That's like
Yeah.
such
I'm just
an
saying. I'm just saying
interesting
it might have to do with like he might get stronger the more types you have out. Something like that. I don't think mana cost will be what he does, but that would be something that I would also accept.
If you have 3 different types of minions on board, gain Divine Shield, Taunt, and Lifesteal, and Wind Fury. Is that what you want?
And Rush, and Double
Rush.
Strike, and Trample, and Death Touch.
I think what I'm looking for, I think I've said it like the past few weeks too, is just like I'm looking forward to new corrupt cards.
Oh yeah, there'll definitely be more of those.
Like I've tried
But
so many
more
times.
specific. You can't just say they're obviously going to be corrupt cards in this. Obviously, there has to be. If it's not, it'll be disappointing. So maybe like, is there something that you'd like to see that would be a corrupt card that isn't just like stats?
This question.
D-Money wants a Priest corrupt board clear so he can Yashiraj and clear his opponent's board. That's what he wants.
This question, like, I'd have to think about it for a while. Like, you definitely already had that set in your mind when you asked the question. Like, and like Draco, I don't know. Like, he plays Demon Hunter primarily, so he's like focused on that. But like, I am like going to like every class. Like, I do love Highlander Mage. I enjoy Priest a lot too. Like, I don't even know what I would want. Like, it really.
You don't even know what you want.
I have
you don't
no
even
idea,
know
man.
that, like,
I want it all. I just.
What about a Kabbalist Tome but corrupt? So it's like, I don't know, a 3 mana Discover 1, corrupt Discover 3.
I don't know how much randomness I want to play against anymore.
I'm just spitballing here.
Let's go with a corrupt card that turns into like an antique heal bot. All right, there you go. I just want neutral heal. Exactly what Draco said. I want neutral heal. All right, let's answer some more questions here.
I thought I saw a good one. Do you think there will be more nerfs soon? For example, Risky Skipper, Broom, Hand of Gul'dan, Vitamin. I think that there is going to be another balance change that comes out in the near future. I don't think it potentially would be before the mini set. I imagine the next couple week, like this week and the next week, are probably going to be some kind of reveal season for some kind of new cards of some sort or new content. And usually, yeah, if there is another nerf and another balance change, I imagine it'll come out when the new cards come out, if that's all a singular day. And if it's not a singular day and they do it kind of like they did with Galakron's Awakening, that's like really messed up, because then people are going to be like, okay, do I open a whole bunch of Dark Moon Fair packs because there's 2 legendaries that are new? Or do I wait till next week when they have the other epic cards that come out for it? So hopefully they just drop all the new cards into the packs at once, so people can be strategic with their pack opening and not have to worry about missing out on content if they open their packs all at once.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we waited like a month and a half for 2 cards to get changed, I don't see something being changed from now till the mini expansion. No, there's like no way.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a month and a half since the Demon Hunter nerfs, was it?
Probably a month.
About a
I don't
month.
know. Yeah.
Maybe
It
you're
was
right.
about a month.
Bit too long.
Hey, that's still pretty fast in the perspective of Hearthstone for a nerf.
I mean,
you know?
overall, but like as of recent times, like they've been a lot quicker with it. So I think it was just like due to like the holiday season and everything. I would have wanted to see them like nerf it right before they went on break. You know, that would have been nice. But
Yeah, it definitely didn't take a lot to queue into a Hearthstone game and be like, yeah, this deck seems like a problem. Like, you could play the game for like a day and just like obviously see that 50% of your games are against Evolved Shaman.
Yeah, okay, so there's this one thing here. How do you grow a sexy beard like Warshack's? Good question.
Noodles and alcohol.
There you go.
Primarily belief and alcohol. Lots of rocket fuel, right?
Yeah. Lots of bourbon, good amount of noodles, got to add the cheese to them. It's takes a lot, but we get there one noodle at a time.
Will this Edwin nerf be enough to make him not overpowered? He's going to be less powerful, but probably still good. So
I don't know if he's still overpowered. I think he's still very good, but probably not overpowered anymore. But like, still very, very good. Especially the fact that you can get multiple Edwins off of World Kick still. So yeah, it's up in the air.
Multiple 4 drops instead of 3 drops is a big difference, right?
That's true. So like, I wouldn't say it's overpowered, but like, it's still like almost to that point. You know, it's kind of it's almost there.
Why do you think Blizzard so lazily nerfed Edwin instead of the real problem card, Foxy Fraud?
Can I tackle this one?
Go ahead.
Well, as we know, the rotation is going to happen soon, and the rotation includes Galakrons and lackeys, more importantly. Right now, lackeys make up for like most of what Rogue does. So if we were to nerf Foxy Frog, which is a combo activator and a great combo card that, you know, allows those decks to function, and then they're also going to be losing the lackeys, Rogue is in a very not so good spot. So we have to keep in mind what is going to be happening in the future, because once the lackeys are gone, Rogue is really only going to have the combo mechanic left. So if it, you know what I mean? They don't want to remove every good aspect of Rogue prior to them already losing lackeys, which is like, that's literally Rogue's identity, is lackeys.
Yeah, so you have to keep in mind that like the people at Hearthstone or the people at Blizzard, like they're already like they've made like the next 2 sets or whatever. Like they're like so far ahead, so they already know what's coming in the mini set, of course, and they're probably, when they're making these changes, like they're keeping in mind that like they're about to drop these cards and they don't want to make something like too bad, or like maybe like Rogues is really good right now, but once these new cards that come out, like there's like a lot of powerful cards for like Mage or like these other classes, so they still want Rogue to maybe compete with it. So I guess see why they didn't nerf the cards, but Foxy Fraud, I definitely think could have went to a 2/2 and it still would be fine. Like the effect is still very good. But it really does depend on like what they're planning, I feel.
Yeah, because we miss out on the whole perspective of the future domino effect, which is something that they're probably pretty honed in on. Which is like, okay, in the mini set, let's say like Priest gets some incredibly powerful like cards that like are like, you know, give your minion taunt and resummon itself with taunt or something like that. So while they were practicing and playtesting this card, Rogue was a very good answer to that deck in like the metagame perspective. But through nerfing like Edwin and making Rogue worse, it gives like these cards and stuff that they playtested ahead of time, it kind of offsets the balance that they were previously anticipating for the cards. So perhaps they're like, oh crap, if we nerf Edwin, instead of nerfing like Foxy Fraud, then like the new combo sap card that we make that counters the new Priest stuff that we're putting in the game, maybe that'll still get to see play. So we miss out on that perspective as just gamers and not the developers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also you're gonna have like Miscreant rotating out and a lot of like good combo cards, I guess, maybe. So that's gonna make Foxy Fraud worse, of course, but you never know what they're gonna come out with like the new classic set and the new expansion, all that. So yeah, a lot of factors to think about there.
Yeah, it is exciting. I can't wait though, because I'm gonna start a whole campaign called Kanye for Classic, and that's the dream for me.
Oh no! Hey, was he in the Initiate set? Is that what it was?
No, he's from Ashes. So
okay,
but they claimed that they're doing the whole Classic set for Demon Hunter at the next revamp. So, and that all of the cards for Demon Hunter from all the expansions can make it. And I don't know what my life would be without Kanye. So
Ignoring taunt minions, charging at the face, the way of the DH.
yes.
Why don't you advertise the podcast on Reddit? I don't know.
I'll tell you guys something about Reddit. Reddit is very mean. That is true.
If you're not,
did you see Ox's post about that Evolve Shaman like should be nerfed thing? Did you see that?
oh yeah.
No.
Where in the majority of the comment section was focusing on like why he traded his first few minions instead of going entirely to phase. So like the entire Reddit comment section, instead of commenting on the content of the video, They were all trying to paint
entertainment.
why Liquid Ox is a bad player of Hearthstone, which is just bullshit.
So essentially what Draco's trying to say is he doesn't want to be called a crackhead again.
Yeah,
And-
I'm very, very insecure about looking like a crackhead, and I'm not willing to take that risk.
Yeah, if you're not posting how to get legend with pure paladin on Reddit, your post isn't gonna do very good. So
Warshack has a vendetta against pure paladin guides.
I do, because every time I get the will, just the shred of hope that Reddit's pretty good, I go on to the Hearthstone Reddit, and within the first 20 posts, it's a legend guide with some form of Libram Paladin. And I'm just like, oh my god. It's like, after hundreds of games of testing, I've come up with this fantastic list. It's the same thing we've seen for like a year.
I always notice that whenever I look at Reddit, there's always someone like on the top of it, like baby raging about a specific meta deck. You know, it's like, how am I supposed to play this game if every single time I play it, I have to go against a turn 1 12-12 Edwin? How am I supposed to enjoy this game? Or like someone is like, is the game all just priest now? Because I've played 14 games in a row and 4 of them were res priest. You know, it's just someone complaining about some specific deck and how it makes them incredibly mad. That's always on the top too.
Yeah, I mean, any exposure is good exposure, probably. So we probably should do something on Reddit. I don't know if that would be beneficial. It's a good suggestion. Even though we might get some whatever kind of comments like, "Hey, like at least people are seeing it." You know?
Maybe if our predictions are right, D-Money. So like when we were guessing like nerfs and or buffs and or changes and or cards,
That would be a
and
good
we're
thing
right,
to post on
we
there,
could take those clips and then be like, you know, learn more with Metabreak. I don't know. Something that has to do with us and being insightful or something. I don't know.
I'm the insightful one, all right? You're the good vibes one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't forget I'm the good vibes. I'm always happy, chat. If you ever come to my channel, always in a good mood, never upset, never salty. I've never even been mad and haven't lost a game in my entire life.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I think that is going to do it though. Unless you guys see anything else that you want to go over.
Yeah, I'm good to wrap it up. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're just at like the 1 hour and like maybe we're just like at the 1 hour mark here. So
Killed it.
Good timing. Great cast of characters. Love it. Yeah, I want to shout out our podcast people here. I want to shout out the Warshack and DracoCatt right there. If you want to check out their channels, they're right there in chat. Those are my co-hosts. We do this podcast every single week, every Sunday at 1 p.m. EST. And sometimes the time changes, but it's usually 1 p.m. EST. And it's going to be on my channel. It goes on my channel 2 weeks in a row. Then we go to Warshack's channel 2 weeks in a row. So if you did enjoy the podcast, I hope that you could give us all a follow and check us out on YouTube. We have the podcast on there. We put the podcast up there. And yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah. And next week, hopefully, we have some other stuff to talk about. Some really exciting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we want to have a guest once we have new content to talk about with. Originally, we were thinking we'd probably do it this week, but we kind of figured that since we didn't get to talk about like the mini expansion or something, that we'd probably wait till next week to bring over a new character onto the show. So there's something juicier to talk about while we have our special guest.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, also, there were only 2 changes, and they released them on like Thursday, which was like getting close to the podcast already. So then you have to give the person notice and everything. So yeah, it just didn't work out for this week, but hopefully next week we have a nice guest on and should have a good show for you. I mean, even if we don't have a guest on, it's always going to be a good show. So still hope to see you here. We have the Warshack. He knows how to host a show. All right. But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks, Warshack.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck on ladder today. Have some fun. And yeah, see you later, Draco. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, man. Nice to see you, Dan. And I see you, Warshack. I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful remainder of your day.
All right. Peace out, guys. Stay beautiful.